So today with us on Stool Talk, we're honored to have a special talent, great creative, excellence is in his work that I see. One who's doing it at a high level, and you could just see the passion in everything he does, from the creativities, from the interviews, and even from the people that I spoke to about this person we're bringing on. Here on Stool Talk, we walk in our purpose on purpose, and today's guest is definitely doing that. Today we have with us the one, the only Mr. Khalil Stewart. How you doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Like I said, we right in the heat of sports. It's crossover season, so
Yeah,
I'm getting my rest, eating my veggies, trying to stay healthy.
yeah. So you're a digital creator, and are you still in athletics, communication? Are you still coordinating that?
Yes, sir. So this is my first year being the coordinator of athletic communications. I was fortunate enough to grab a job straight out after graduating,
Yeah.
and it's been up from there.
Yeah. So what does your job entails with being coordinating, and will you still be able to do your digital creation on the side, or would it merge together with your job?
So really and truly, the digital creation that I do, the videos, the pictures, that was only possible through my job. So
Okay.
it goes hand in hand. So I'm over a group of students who do creation that you see on the Bama State women's basketball page, the Bama State's men's basketball page. Shout out to each and every one of them. I won't list the names. I'm gonna forget somebody, and then they're gonna feel some type of way. So I'm gonna say
Yeah.
shout out to all of them and their creatives. So I purchased the camera here recently, and I said, you know what, if I'm doing all this creating, I might as well start my own side hustle and see if I can make something out of it. Not knowing where I really want to go with it yet, but really making highlights and giving our athletes the exposure that they deserve, because it's never about me. You know, Working in athletics is what you want to call a selfless job. You got to be selfless. You're not gonna always get credit. Sometimes you got to just be the person who is okay with being behind the scenes, and you got to pat yourself on the back. So I really enjoy what I do. I love what I do, and I love where I'm at.
Yeah. What kind of camera did you get? Did you get? Or is you allowed to share that? Some I don't know. Some people don't want to share their stuff, but
See, I don't gatekeep. I don't gatekeep. I don't
okay.
do all that. Now we do got some gatekeepers out there, but I thought
Yeah.
I brought my camera in the house, but I didn't. I shoot on a Sony A7 IV. My granddad recently purchased it for me back for Christmas. So I appreciate my granddad for that, and invest in my dreams and invest in the product, and believing that I can do what I've been doing, continue to prove my worth and my value. And he's been a big part of my journey, and my family's just been everything for me. So I was fortunate enough, because I'm a grad student right now, so I'm still technically a college student. I don't got the funds to buy a camera right now. I just don't. Not in this
Right.
economy.
Right.
So
Right.
I love what I do.
Yeah. So how did we get here? Tell us like where you from, and how your journey, and quick fashion of how you got to Alabama State.
So I'm born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, specifically Hoover, Alabama. It was where I went to high school. I went to Spain Park High School, and I always know when to be around sports. I even started a podcast back when a YouTube channel back when I was in 10th grade called Stephen A. Smith Jr. So, and that's
I
still
love
out there
it.
somewhere. I can't find it. My friends know what I'm talking about. But it was an opportunity for me to really give my sports takes, because I always like to talk. With people that I'm close with, I talk too much, honestly, and I don't know when to shut up sometimes. But I really fell in love with writing, telling stories, and it started in a 10th grade English class where she allowed us just to kind of free write and telling our own personal stories, what's going on in our life at that very moment. And ultimately, I found a passion to want to be around sports. I wanted to be a basketball player, but I stopped growing at 5'8", so that didn't work out. I wanted to be a baseball player, but I messed up both my knees. I ran track for a short period of time, but I'm not Nova Lyles. So I said, let me find something I can do. So I really love the sport of basketball, and I wanted to, believe it or not, I wanted to be a coach at one point. I wanted to go to school and be a men's basketball coach, because I loved watching the March Madness, and I said, I want to build a team and go take a team to March Madness. And ultimately, that I was like, you gotta be a teacher. I'm not trying to deal with no kids. Still have to deal with kids anyways, being over a media team. But then I was like, okay, how can I love to talk sports. I love to debate sports. How can I get there? Okay, I want to work in sports media. So that led me to working for my school newspaper called the Horn Tribune. I was the assistant sports editor, then got promoted to head sports editor. And I met one of my friends named Kendall Mans. We started a podcast where we covered strictly ASU sports, and we highlighted every sport on campus. And then from there, once I left there, I got a phone call from Dr. Jason Cable, our athletic director, and he said he wanted me to launch this thing that we could have called the Hornet Sports Network.
Okay.
And he was like, "Yeah, we see your talent, we see what you do. We want you to bring that here and try to amplify this and build this up." And from there on, it's been God carrying me and the favoritism that I get, and obviously the work that you put in, because you're nothing without your work. But
Yeah.
it's been it's been up from there ultimately.
Yeah, yeah. And you speak very well. Did you have to work on speaking with your interviews or did it come naturally? Did you have to like how was the ropes when you first started and even with shooting, getting the right shots because you have good work, like I said. So did it come just by you starting? Was it a process or was it natural like God just was giving it to you as you was going?
Ultimately, really and truly, when I first started, anybody that knows me and my family, people were surprised to know that I wanted to be in front of a camera because I'm very much of an introvert, honestly. I'm really, really an introvert. Like certain environments I just don't enjoy talking in. I've grown out of that now when I'm comfortable with someone. But and I told my mom and my granddad that I wanted to be in front of the camera, and my grandma. Well, my grandma knows now; she's looking out on me from heaven. But they were like, "Why you want to be in front of the camera? You?" And they're like, "This child that I've known for 21 years, he's a whole different person on the camera than he is off the camera." I will literally go home and I have a little brother, and he's the loudest one in the house.
Right.
And they're just like, you got this big personality in front of the camera, but you're not this person off. So it kind of throws people off that I'm this quiet, shy, introverted person. When they meet me in person, they realize I'm not this big personality. It's always gonna be loud and proud. But when I'm passionate about something, I go all in on it. And speaking was something that really came natural. Obviously, learning to take my time and speak in interviews, because you set the tempo of the interview, you set the pace. That was
Mhm.
something that was I still work on to this day because I've been honored and privileged to host our football coaches show and our basketball coaches show since my senior year, which was last year. So I've probably to this point probably done well over 100 shows. So with that it comes practice and reps and practice and reps, and you learn what works and what doesn't, and what your style is and what isn't, what you do like, what you don't like. And I was always joked as a kid for being the one that spoke too proper. The terminology where it goes, you talk like you're white. I got that a
Yeah.
lot when I was a kid, but it's ultimately worked in my favor. And I've never believed in speaking like you're any kind of color. I think there's a correct way to speak and there's incorrect way to speak. And I
Yeah.
just have found that balance, and I've been blessed to be in fortunate situations where I've exceeded.
Yeah. And what does walking in your purpose mean to you and how does that show up in your work?
Walking in my purpose to me means doing what makes you happy, doing what you feel like you were called to do. For me, that's telling stories in sports. You mentioned my camera angles and stuff like that in shooting. That wasn't something that came easy for me. And my students, I had to humble myself originally because I was never a videographer. I wasn't even a photographer. I didn't get good at that until January, while learning from my students. So when you're having to ask someone that is considered beneath you in the hierarchy questions, that takes a lot of humbleness. And I try to be as humble as possible, ask questions, because if you're the smartest person in the room and everywhere you go, you're probably in the wrong room.
Yeah.
So walking in my purpose means being humble, believing in what you preach, believing in yourself most importantly, because if you don't believe in you, nobody's gonna do it for you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you gotta be your own biggest fan, and I've learned that, and that's okay. Um, it's okay to walk that journey alone. Everybody's journey is different.
Yeah. And how has faith played a role in your career thus far that you're shaping and your path that you're on right now?
Ultimately, it's been everything to me. My faith, I really got close with God when I got to college. We're in my junior year of college, well, sophomore year of college now. That's not to say I wasn't praying, but you know, when you're in kindergarten and you're in elementary school and middle school, you're like, oh my gosh, why am I going to church every Sunday? Why am I here? Like, honestly, God forgive me. I was the kid that would go to church with my grandparents and go to sleep in church. Like I was that kid, the 5 year old, 6 year old kid. But and I didn't understand what I was. Obviously, you're a kid at that point. You don't really understand. Praise God, pray before you eat, but you don't understand what it really means to trust God.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing I learned. When it doesn't make sense, that's when you got to believe in God the most because everything is happening for a reason. I'm doing the interview with you for a reason. I mean, we wouldn't have been connected if you wouldn't have saw the work that I've done. All
Yeah.
of that stuff plays a connective piece. And ultimately, I love what I'm doing right now. And my faith has brought me through a lot because there's been a lot of storms that I've gone through, a lot of things I've been dealt. My faith carries me every day. I have a lot of responsibilities at work. Being the youngest person on staff, you get dealt. Don't the biggest thing advice I saw on Twitter was don't mess around and become important at work because you're gonna get everything.
Yeah.
So that's been the biggest thing for me. My faith keeps me humble, keeps me grounded, and I talk to God every single day, every single morning, even if it's just a thank you God for waking me up.
Yeah. And have you faced any challenge thus far? And if so, how did you overcome it or how are you overcoming it?
Biggest challenges that I faced was being isolated. Um, my junior year, I made a decision to go work in the athletic department and leave my friends who worked on the school newspaper. Now, obviously, we still went to the same university. We're still cool, all type of stuff. But ultimately, I was a student I had to take a gamble and a bet on myself that I could go build something that, was going to benefit the school. And ultimately, that led to a full time job. That led to connections I never could have imagined. It led to an NBA internship. That's how I got this jersey right here
I was
with
going to
the
ask you about
Charlotte
that.
Hornets.
Wow.
So that just goes to show that some of the challenges that I face. One, like I said, isolation. Sometimes when you're isolated, you feel like you're the only one in the room. You're the only one that's going through this. But the reality is, you're isolated for a reason.
Yeah.
Isolation comes elevation. That's what my mom always told me. And there were nights when I cried on the phone with my mom. Like when I actually started at a community college called Jeff State in Birmingham. And all of my friends were going to UABs, Alabamas, Troy's, all this type of things. And I said, I'm going to HBCU. And I walked in that university by myself, didn't know anybody. I had to fight my way to the top of this totem pole to get to where I wanted to be. And I'm still here to this day. And that just, a lot of trials, a lot of tears. I had a culture shock going from a PWI high school to a
Yeah.
HBCU. That's a culture shock. I was around predominantly white people who grew up in a white neighborhood for 20 years, essentially. So I just started learning HBCU culture. So I didn't know where I fit in. I didn't know how to really get in there and mingle. But I grew into it. I accepted this challenge. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be the only one doing this. It's okay to not be going to parties while everybody else is out partying. It's okay to be in your room doing a podcast called Stephen A. Smith Jr. if you're not Stephen A. Smith yet. So
Right, right.
I just really try to be as humble as possible and, accept all challenges. Don't run from it.
Yeah. And what makes Alabama State University special to you?
It's family. That's where my mom went, my dad went. I think I don't even know what generation Hornet I am at this point because it's been too
Legacy.
many people. So
It's a
I'm truly a legacy. And Alabama State truly takes care of their own in every way possible. They will love you when you're there and you dominate and you do what you're supposed to do. And if you do decide to leave and go into things that you feel like are better for you, they'll still love you through that. But they're always connected. They'll always reach out to you. Like I can pick up the phone and call somebody right now and get whatever I need because it's just those connections are built lifetime. It's like a fraternity, honestly. It really, really is. It's something you're connected to forever. But that's all HBCUs. It's not just limited to Alabama State. All HBCUs, that's the beauty in it. You're always connected to that HBCU forever.
Yeah. What's one tradition at Alabama State that everyone should experience at least once?
Ooh, okay. Let me think about this for a second. I guess I would say either The Magic City you got to go to one of the Magic City Classics, or you got to go to Circuit Day Classic. Magic City Classic is the most important win of the year. Like that's the most important game. That's where everybody's gonna be the last October and the last day in October every single year for the last 80 plus years. You got to be in the Magic City Classic. That's a tradition that you got to experience at least once in your life. I've been going since I was probably 2 years old. So yeah, Magic City Classic. I was gonna say some chants, but I'm going. I'm not trying to get my. I'm still an employee of Alabama State, so I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
that.
How do you use your platform to help inspire and uplift others?
I mean, I think it goes back to telling the story to athletes. In this space that we're in right now with NIL, in this space we're in now with branding and transfer portal. The reality is, if you have a coaches are kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You get a good athlete, they're a superstar at that level. You know who come calling? The top schools will come get them. And then if that top school has players there that feel like they're not playing good, they're coming to HBCU to come feel like they can dominate there, and then they're gonna leave again. That's just the reality of it. So my job and my mindset is to give that athlete the best experience possible while they're there. In my opinion, as Dr. Cable would say, it's called the student athlete experience. So whether that's giving them a promo video, whether that's giving them pictures, whether it's giving them memories that they can hold on for a lifetime, that they can share with generations and generations and really be a part of something historical. So like right now we're in the midst of the first Division 1 flag football women's flag football team that we have at ASU. That's history.
Yeah,
So I was a part of that, and I'm still a part of that. I'm excited to see where it goes. So really telling the story of the athlete.
yeah. Do you think it's important that that you continue to tell stories about the HBCU through your communication through your platforms as well?
Absolutely. Because if we don't do it, who else is going to do it? ESPN is not coming unless you got, Deion Sanders coaching at Jackson State. That's just the reality of it. Unless you got some type of big name player or coach or, person at your university, that's not happening. So the onus is on you to tell that story in the best way possible. And I feel like there's still some areas where I can improve on that. I'm not perfect at it. I'm still growing in that area. But I feel like we're doing one of the better jobs of any university out there, honestly. So the onus is on us. And I feel like all HBCUs should take that accountability to tell that story.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to the youth who looking to follow in your footsteps with the athletics or with the digital creation?
Um, I would say connections are everything. The biggest piece of advice I received when I was doing my internship with the Charlotte Hornets was be nice to people.
Yeah.
Nobody likes a bully. Nobody likes an arrogant person. Be nice to people. Be generous. And those connections will take you a long way, especially when you're talking about being an HBCU where it's a one big family. You have to be humble. You have to treat people the way you want to be treated, and ultimately those things will take you a long way. Obviously, the work is gonna get you is gonna put you on the level you want to get to. But are you nice to people? Can
Yeah.
people work with you? Are you a team player? So be nice to people.
Yeah. And with the rise of social media, how do you think it impacts the youth, both positive and negatively?
Social media is not reality. Ultimately, social media is not reality. I can go outside and take a picture in front of somebody's Mercedes Benz or Lamborghini outside right now, and everybody gonna be asking me, "Oh, you got a Mercedes Benz?" I can say, "Yeah, I got a Mercedes Benz." Then you see me pull up to work with a 2005 Chevrolet. You can be like, "Oh, what happened?" Oh man, it's lost. It got lost in the sauce. So social media is not reality at all. I think sometimes we get too caught up in what other people are doing. We get in the phase of comparing our skill sets, comparing our lives. And the reality is, like I said earlier, everybody's on their own journey. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, like I said, I'm big in faith. Everybody has to answer to God at the end of the day. When it's
Yeah.
all said and done, you're not going to be there with your friends. You're not going to be there with, your dog, your toys, your cars. It's going to be you and that man in the sky. And
Yeah.
you have to be okay with being singled out. You have to be okay with walking your own journey. Everybody wears different size pair of shoes. Everybody has different shoes. Everybody wears different clothes. That's what makes us unique. So I truly believe that.
Yeah, and if you could teach a class to young digital creators or student athletes, what would your core lesson be?
Uh, Let me see. That's a good question. Um, my core lesson would be really and truly build a portfolio. Build a portfolio. All your work needs to be on something that other employers. Having an Instagram for your page is great. Having a Twitter for your page is great. But if you can build a website with all of your work, and if you can profit off your work, amazing, great, beautiful. But you want people to be able to see all of your work lined up into one place, because that is the biggest thing that's really separating people in this specific creative digital age, having their work in one place and having those portfolios. And especially, like I said, one thing I'm still learning, connections get you everywhere you want to go. Connections are everything. Connections. I don't care if you have to speak to a referee at a game. If you're at a game and you are walking the sideline, speak to everybody, because you just never know who knows who can get you in the door. Because sometimes it's not about who you know. It could be you talking to that person and, oh, I know LeBron James, or I know somebody that can get you in this door. So I would say, like I said, it goes back to being nice to people, speak to everyone, manners. I think sometimes we get away from those manners in this as we get older.
Yeah. If you could interview any athlete, past or present, who would it be or why?
Kobe Bean Bryant. Kobe, I got his thing on my wall right here. I wish I could show it, but Kobe Bean Bryant, he's someone who always inspired me to keep going, keep pushing. I really embrace that Mamba mentality of you got to work to get where you want to go. And
Mm,
even if it calls for sleepless nights, headache, pain, blood, sweat, tears, and even sacrificing time with loved ones, Kobe Bryant was one of the greatest athletes of all time, and I would just love to just pick his brain and interview. I just want to have a conversation. I just want to know, what was it like? And you got Game 7 of the finals against the Boston Celtics on your home court, and you just
yeah.
lost them 2 years ago. What was your mindset going into that summer, getting ready for that game, knowing you're gonna face the Celtics again? And I'm an NBA junkie, so I can go all day with athletes I would interview.
Okay, what's your top five?
Phew. Okay. LeBron, Kobe, um, uh, I guess I'll go MJ. Um, I'll put Kareem, and I'm also gonna go with. It's hard not to put Steph Curry in there somewhere. It's hard not to put Steph Curry in there somewhere. He's really revolutionized the game, but that's my top five. LeBron, Kobe, MJ. I think I said Kareem and Curry.
Yeah. So who your go? MJ or LeBron?
LeBron, easy. LeBron, I love LeBron. I mean, I know. Look, I had an internship with the Charlotte Hornets, and I met each and every one of Michael Jordan's brothers, and I'm still going LeBron. I don't care. I love him. Hey, it was cool meeting him, but hey, LeBron is my goat. I'm a diehard Lakers fan, so he can't even save my franchise for now.
Yeah. If you could sit down and interview any celebrity, past or present, who would it be, and what would the first question you ask them?
Um, so I kind of want to. It's between Tupac and Nipsey. They were two people that I really studied when I was in my community college, and I was a work study student in an office job, folding papers and putting them in files and stuff like that. So I used to sit on YouTube all day and just listen to these people talk and listen to their motivational speeches, and it really helped me pull out of my situation that I was in, because I was in a depressive stage, because all my friends were in college and I was still at home in Birmingham going to a community college. And I guess I'll go Tupac, because there wouldn't be a Nipsey without Tupac. And the first question I would ask him would be, "Who killed you?" No, 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 no. But I guess that's tough. First question, who are you? What do you stand for? What is
Yeah.
it that you want people to know about you that they don't know? Something along those lines.
Alabama, you got Ricky Smiley, Pastor Mike down there too, right?
Hmm. Yep.
They legends down there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ricky Smiley. So Ricky Smiley's son, Ricky Smiley actually went to Alabama State. Um, and funny enough, Pastor Mike's son is currently at the high school that I graduated from. And
Wow.
Ricky Smiley's I actually went to middle school with his son Malik, and we just graduated from Alabama State together. So I remember when I was a kid, we were in middle school. The first time I met Malik, it's gonna be a funny story. I told Malik he was going around telling people, my dad Ricky Smiley, my dad Ricky Smiley. I said, your dad ain't Ricky Smiley. And then next thing I know, lo and behold, the TV show that he had came out at the time. And
Yeah.
I turn on, I walk in my mom's room, boom, there Malik is on the TV. So it was a funny moment. But yeah, they are huge legends down here. Pastor Mike is he might be one of the greatest preachers of all time, and he's a great artist as well.
Yeah, and I think he gonna be down here in Atlanta at New Birth tonight because I was gonna try to go, but I ended up getting off work late. Yeah, he definitely a man, great man of God, great spitting the word and preaching the word, and just living his testimony is amazing as well. Is Malik gonna go on to play sports further? Because what he was playing sports, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was playing basketball. Um, he's graduated, so I'm not sure what he's doing at this very moment. Uh,
Okay.
so I guess I'm not really sure.
Okay. If you could create a documentary on any sports moment in history, what would it be and why?
I mean, the first moment that came to my mind was Game 7 of the finals in 2016 where Kyrie hit that shot. I feel like that would be the moment. I feel like that might be the greatest sports moment of all time, barring what might happen in the Super Bowl in a couple weeks from now. But
Yeah.
and I'm sorry as a Bills fan, I'm sorry about that. But that Kyrie shot was something that really kind of changed the fate of NBA forever
Yeah.
because Kevin Durant didn't go to Golden State if
Yeah.
Kyrie didn't make that shot,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's LeBron. You know,
I think they could have got three in a row.
exactly, exactly. And then is LeBron still playing right now? If he's sitting on 6 rings, I don't think so. I
Right.
really don't.
Right.
So that moment right there was one of that single handedly changed the fate of NBA history.
Yeah. What's one piece of sports content, a film, documentary, a social moment that inspired you in your digital storytelling?
The Last Dance. I would definitely say The Last Dance, and I would also say what was there was a Bad Boy Pistons documentary that came out in like I think it was maybe like 2014. It came out and I was really heavy into that. And I need to probably go back and watch because I need to refresh myself on the Jordan rules because I still like to play basketball here and there. So I need to learn how to play some defense. But those two documentaries, especially at the time that the Jordan documentary dropped, like during COVID, that's all we had. That's all we had to look forward to. So that was definitely the biggest one for me. And
Right.
Last Chance You. I love Last Chance You.
Yeah, my stepsons got me hip to that. They
Really?
always talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to bring that show back. They got to.
Last couple questions. I'm gonna get you out of here. Describe Alabama State in 3 words.
3 words: culture, black, and excellence.
Yeah.
Culture, black, and excellence.
Yeah. When it's all said and done, how do you want people to look at you, remember you and your work?
I want people to know that I gave it all that I had. I squeezed everything out of my juice. I poured everything I had out, and there was nothing else for me to give. And sometimes that can um, sacrifice things, like as far as my mental health, because I'm doing a lot. I'm so locked in that I can't focus on nothing else, and I sacrifice a lot of time with family and friends. But if I'm going to be where I ultimately want to go, which is the very top, I want to be on ESPN. I want to be, the biggest name in sports. I want to be bigger than Stephen A. Smith, bigger than Shannon Sharp. I have to make those sacrifices in order to get to that get to that point.
Yeah.
So squeeze every bit out of that lemon.
Yeah. What would you tell your younger self if you could say something to
Stop stressing, man. You're
him?
you're like 10, 11 years old and worried about, things that you can't control. You are way too young. I'm still way too young to be stressed. I'm 23 with no kids. I mean, hey, like I should be living my best life. I should be doing what I want to do. Take more risk too. Take
Yeah.
more risk. Bet on you because what's the risk without a try? I mean, you don't know what could be. You don't know what the risk could be. But you know what the reward could be. But you're never gonna know what that reward could be or what that reward could be if you don't try. And so many times I kept myself from really pushing to excellence. But ultimately, I have no fears no anymore. I have no fears for better or for worse. I have zero fears about what I want to do in my career. I'm willing to take any bet, any gamble, and bet on myself. Prize picks.
Right. Definitely. And whatever comes to your heart, can you speak something positive to the youth?
Um, I would say remain always try to reconnect with your inner child. Always try to make things exciting. When you're a kid, everything is new, everything is sunshine and rainbows. And you're gonna have people that try to come into your life and bring storms and bring their pain on you. But you have to always look up and look at the sun and keep your head up and be focused and never let your light dim for someone else. If someone says you shining too bright, tell them to put some sunglasses on. That's the best way I could put it. So that's what I would say. Always reconnect with your inner child. Like I still watch SpongeBob. I still watch kids that shows that I watched when I was a kid because they keep me excited. They keep me motivated. So, your inner child is your most important thing.
Yeah. Before we close out, we need a drop from you. Can you say your name, your title, and say you walking in purpose?
My name is Khalil Stewart. I am the coordinator of athletic communications at Alabama State University, and I walk in my purpose.
Definitely. Well, we thank you. We're spotlighting you for all your hard work, for all the excellence that you demonstrate, and even being a great young man that's pouring into his creative genes, that's trusting in God, that's walking in his purpose, that's allowing others to see that it's motivation. Khalil, you have everything inside you that you need. You're equipped with everything. You're the head and not the tail, above only and not beneath, and believe that you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. So continue to be that great leader. Continue to have your positive mentality. Continue to do it your way and allow God to be with you. Because if He's with you, who could be against you?
Right.
Yep, yep,
I
yep,
received that. Amen. I
yep,
received that.
yep, yep.
I appreciate that. I
We
appreciate you
thank
having
you.
me on. It was a blessing to be on here.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Khalil Stewart.
Absolutely. Thank you.